Good morning, and welcome to Boulder Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I'm Lisa Moore, the intern minister here, and I'm joined today by Service Associate David Bume, Carmen Sandom providing music, and our tech ushers, Bill Beachley and Cameron Wise, whom help things run so very smoothly. Our senior minister, Reverend Lydia Ferrante Roseberry, is on a well-deserved ministerial sabbatical through August 9th. The most important people to mention are all of you, this fellowship, and all of the wonderful people you are, for you are the reason we do any of this. As I say the welcome words today, I invite you to shift into gallery mode if you haven't already done so, and scroll through the screens so you can experience the lovely diversity of this congregation, because without it and without you, there would be no us. You are all welcome here today, in all the beauty of languages, cultures, skin tones, shapes, and sizes that come together in your uniqueness. You are welcome here. In all the ways you experience and express gender, you are welcome here. In the beauty that is who you love and how you love, you are welcome here. Christian, pagan, humanist, Jew, Buddhist, mystic, Muslim, Unitarian, Universalist, or just still trying to figure it all out. With all of the traditions that inform your spiritual life, you are welcome here today. No matter how long you are away, nor how soon you will return, you are welcome here. Whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears, you are welcome here. You are invited to join us with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands. We welcome you here today. As Unitarian Universalists, we believe in the inherent worth and dignity of all people. We acknowledge that our community is located on the lands once stewarded by the Arapaho, Ute, Lakota, and Cheyenne peoples. Our congregation honors Indigenous legacy and respects the enduring relationship that exists between Indigenous peoples and their traditional homelands through our connections to Right Relationship Boulder. We also acknowledge we live in a time when Black, Indigenous, other peoples of color, and Latino, Latina, Latinx, and Hispanic people are devalued, violated, and killed because of systemic racism. We commit ourselves to becoming anti-racist in ourselves and our institutions by taking actions to dismantle racism in society, taking guidance from, and while honoring the lived experience of those who identify as Black, Indigenous, and people of color, and developing personal relationships between cultures. If you are new here, we are glad you found us and hope that in this virtual community you can experience the warmth and love of this congregation. Each Sunday is different here, so please come back a few times to really get to know us. If you want to get better connected, please see the chat window for the link to our first-time visitors page, or email your information to our office manager, Carol, at officemanager@bvuuf.org. Her email address will be in the chat window as well, although, side note, she is on vacation for the next 2 weeks, so it might be a bit for her to get back to you. And also, please do be sure to check out the fellowship calendar and Connections Weekly for all the other opportunities we have to stay connected. Finally, if any new visitors would like to introduce yourself in the chat, please do. We love to know who is among us. All are invited to stay for announcements and virtual coffee hour at the end of the service and any additional breakout rooms that we will be having. So if you have a chalice at home, can you light it with me now as I light our fellowship chalice? So we know where all our chalices are, please write in the chat, chalice lit in, and then the name of your town. Please say these words along with me as I light our chalice. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action. And now I'll sing our bowl again, inviting it to draw you deeper into the present moment and this, our beloved community.
I'm thinking about our sixth principle, the goal of world community, with peace, liberty, and justice for all, in the context of putting one foot in front of the other and leading with love, the theme of this year's General Assembly. I'm thinking of the symbolism of the colors, red, white, and blue of our national flag, displayed in front of many homes in Lafayette for the 4th of July. The red in our national flag symbolizes strength, resilience, bravery, courage. White symbolizes honesty, integrity, and decency. Blue symbolizes vigilance, stamina, persistence. I was stunned to witness a Black American flag flown on the back of a truck up and down Public Road in Lafayette for the 4th of July this year. My Google search revealed that traditionally, the flying of a Black American flag has meant take no prisoners, death to all prisoners. In the context of the hoodlum legacy of the Trump regime, I worry that the meaning of the message is clear. Death to all who do not believe in the supremacy of white people in this country. Our sixth principle is the goal of world community, with peace, liberty, and justice for all. I'm wondering how it might be possible to approach with love this angry and fearful young man in the midst of an inevitable disappearance of an America for white people only. In the context of our sixth principle, I'm thinking about the word community in the monastic tradition of brotherhood and sisterhood, of a congregation of people willing to accept the worth and dignity even of this young man, flying his take no prisoners flag of death. For me, it was a moment of understanding that the war has been brought home. Only 8 months have passed since 74 million Americans voted for a demagogue for president of the quote unquote United States. and 6 months since thousands of his followers descended on our capital in an attempt to overthrow a fair and impartially conducted presidential election. In remembering the symbolism of the blue of our national flag, vigilance, stamina, and persistence, and the theme of this year's General Assembly, let us remember the words of the great Jewish American lyricist, Ira Gershwin, from the song, "I'll Build a Stairway to Paradise," written 98 years ago. I'll build a stairway to paradise with a new step every day. I'm going to get there at any price. Stand aside. I'm on my way. Gershwin wrote the lyrics to this song in 1923, 5 years after the end of World War I, that killed or wounded 41 million soldiers and civilians, followed immediately by a global influenza epidemic that infected a third of the world's population and killed at least 50 million worldwide, including 675,000 in the US. In the context of the challenges of our present day world that we face together as a congregation, I say to our angry young man, I'll build a stairway to paradise with a new step every day. I'm gonna get there at any price. A step aside, I'm on my way.
I always have to just breathe for a moment after listening to the music and just take that all in. We, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote the world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all, one nation under God. No, wait, that's the wrong one. I pledge allegiance to the Unitarian Universalist principles of peace, liberty, and a world community. No, wait, that's not right either. We work for a global community founded on peace, liberty, and justice. But the first time I read our UU principles, this sixth principle always reminded me of the Pledge of Allegiance. In reading those words, which were originally written in 1892 by Francis Bellamy, the Pledge of Allegiance, who was a Baptist Christian socialist minister. I thought about other similar words in US documents, and I wondered what came first, theology or polity, religion or politics. And I still haven't found quite the definitive answer yet. I keep kind of going back and back in time. Although I imagine they very likely grew together, perhaps with religion helping to answer some of the unanswerable questions and how to be in a community, and politics creating some of the reasons and actions and rules on how to do that aspiration. And as I learned more about our Unitarian Universalist history and faith and how these principles came about, I thought about what's going on now. How does peace, liberty, and justice look in our current day? As Unitarian Universalists, do these words hold a sacred or secular meaning? Micah 6:8 reads, "What doth the Lord require of thee, but to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God?" It would seem that the words peace, liberty, and justice emerge from a theological perspective. It would also seem that we as UUs and also United States have opened up a Pandora's box of potential with these words, these so very aspirational words. And how can I improve the global community and create something so wondrous it almost seems impossible? Creating peace for me and for others, liberty, justice, those feel so big to me. Does my peace, liberty, and justice have to come at the expense of another? No, just the opposite. Mine is enriched when I create the opportunity for others to increase grace, have more choice, and more fairness in their own lives. I cannot apply these concepts to myself without applying them to others. Otherwise, they ring as hollow as the cracked Liberty Bell. And that's the beauty of being Unitarian Universalist. We set these so lofty goals, so much aspiration, and we fall short. I fall short. And I know I will fall short. I know that my arrow will miss the mark. I will fail in creating a worldwide community of peace, liberty, and justice for all, because I can't do it by myself. None of us can. But that doesn't mean that I stop trying. You may have heard of the quote, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice." One of my professors and I had a discussion about this a couple years back. And first, we acknowledge that there is a long history within that particular quote. And also, when you take out the word moral, that the arc of the universe is long, and it probably bends towards chaos. But when we add the word moral back in, we wonder, does this moral, this arc bend toward justice? Now, my professor said he thought it bent toward beauty, and not a type of physical beauty, but of this state of this beauty of soul and of spirit. But is something that we as people have to work toward, and we both agree on that. I still think about that question and that discussion that we had and ruminate on what my answer would be. And as I think about it, to me, the arc of the moral universe is long, just as long as the regular arc that bends toward chaos. But the moral universe bends toward agape, toward that universal, sacred love, that deep, loving connection that we can experience with each other, those around us, our environment, how we notice and love the connections, even sometimes when they are difficult. And it's work. We have so many things we are working on to create this. There's a UU service committee that helps to create peace and justice and liberty within the world. I imagine some of you are part of that. Closer to home, we have the mountaintop to create a space of peace for our Black, Indigenous, and other peoples of color. There are rumblings about also creating a space for our LGBTQIA people, something maybe similar to the mountaintop, for a space for them. And these we continue to do, knowing that the politics of the words peace, liberty, and justice mean us as a call for us into action. This might also appear as applying and approving the eighth principle, the how, for our aspirational what's. I also imagine you are familiar with the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. Some of us also have heard of the platinum rule, which is do as to others as they want done. Oh, that one's more tricky, because it involves having the conversation to see what the other person wants. What does their version of peace look like? What can I do? And how do I share my peace, my liberty, my justice to make sure that they have their version of peace, liberty, and justice? They are hard words, the sixth principle that we promote and affirm. I work within myself, and hopefully I will be able to help others and bring these words of peace, liberty, and justice to a worldwide community by applying it to a smaller community within myself and aware of how I can apply it with others, making waves of peace, ripples of justice, and vast oceans of liberty for everybody. So be it. Amen, and blessed be. And now I invite us into our time of community connection, our time of sacred sharing. If you would like to share a joy or concern, please type it into the chat window, sending it to everyone, and let us know briefly what is in your heart today. I will read out loud what you share. If you'd like us to be able to follow up with you, please include your full name and where you live in the chat. I will put a stone in our sacred waters on your behalf. So our next song is from Sam Cooke. A Change Is Gonna Come. And Sam actually wrote the lyrics after he and his entourage had made reservations at a Holiday Inn. And upon their arrival, they were not allowed to check in because it was a whites only hotel. There's a little bit more of a blessing as we create more liberty, more choice, more justice, fairness, and more peace in the world. He was writing this to know that a change was going to come, that a change was happening. We'll extinguish the chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, nor the energy of action. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. Our benediction comes from the words of Reverend Mark Morrison Reed. The central task of the religious community is to unveil the bonds that bind each to all. There is a connectedness, a relationship discovered amid the particulars of our own lives and the lives of others. Once felt, it inspires us to act for justice. So now we will go forth right after these announcements. It's just a reminder that the Colorado UUs for Racial Justice and the Mountaintops Summer Conversation Series is now in full swing. It's not too late to sign up for any of the offerings and to view some of the upcoming dates and times and offerings and register. There is a link being posted in the chat that you can click on. They also have an additional link being posted in the chat for meetings for the RE and youth professionals and volunteers that are being scheduled separately. So you can click on that list and join that Google group by asking and say ask to join group. And additionally, there is one final link for the Colorado UURJ calendar, which should be being posted in the link. And so you can, if you can please bookmark that page. Each of the summer series conversations is a little different. And some of them are geared more for leadership roles, but that doesn't mean that if you're not in one of those roles that you're excluded. So there are conversations that everybody is open and welcome to attend. And also, if you have any questions about our process for moving back toward in-person services and events in the fellowship, we are having a breakout room for that. And if you'd like to help the process along, some members from the opening task force will be available in a breakout room also to answer questions and offer ways to help. So thank you.